Hi, and welcome to Lines on Design. I'm Debbie Lines. I am here today with my friend Dave Miller, and we are having a ball talking about superior, and I can't even say superior heating and air conditioning now because you have so many elements to what you're doing. I thought it might be fun today to actually talk about rebranding, growing your business. You're doing a lot of really interesting things that I think people have snippets of ideas, but I'd like to have you tie it all together for us.
Sure.
And congratulations on that, too.
Thank you. Yeah, so this year we celebrated 20 years as Superior Heating and Air, and we thought what a better way to celebrate than to rebrand a little bit, and we spent the last year expanding our market into indoor air quality and water and fire restoration. So
let me ask you a little bit about that and just sort of interrupt you at the beginning.
Sure.
And talk about, is it a natural kind of segue to go from heating and air into air quality, which makes sense to me? Talk to me a little bit about what that actually means.
Sure.
To go into some of these different things.
So obviously with the heating and air, we have ductwork, we move air around the house.
Yes.
The indoor air quality goes hand in hand because we're moving it through ducts and things of that nature. So absolutely hand in hand. Getting into the restoration is really the main thing that ties all this together is a customer experience.
Okay.
Once we've got the customer and they now trust us to be in their home and they like to have us around, we've noticed that they would rather call us than somebody else.
Because once I've developed the relationship with you, and you and I talk about this all the time, you are my go-to professional. And even though it may be indoor ductwork, I would call you normally anyway, just to say, okay, what do I do with this? Or so it does make sense to do that.
Sure.
Are people more and more, are we more and more educated about our air quality? Are we more conscious because it's hot and humid and the information's there?
I feel like the consumer's getting better.
Okay.
But there's still a giant gap. You know, when their air conditioner breaks, they feel that the air conditioner is the repair, you know, and in some cases it is.
Okay.
But it's part of a system that works together. The air conditioner, the duct work that's tied into it, you know, how well the duct is put together, indoor air quality because of the duct work. Leaking ducts are an issue with indoor air quality because if you lose air into your attic, your house wants to make that air up somewhere. So it's going to pull from cracks and crevices and doors and attics, and that pulls in what we call, you know, unfiltrated infiltration.
Can I even ask you what indoor air quality means? How would I know if my home has good indoor air quality?
Sure.
And I say that because I've got 9 grandchildren and 5 pets.
Right.
I wonder if my indoor air quality is different than my parents who have, you know what I'm saying?
That is a loaded question at best.
Okay.
It's different for everybody. So when we talk about indoor air quality, you know, allergies are like bee stings. You know, you may be allergic to a bee sting, but I might not be allergic to a bee sting. So it does vary from person to person. However, there are variables that are in place that everybody can benefit from. If you have a house that's got a lot of dust and a lot of dander, then absolutely, you know, whether you're allergic to it or not, less of that is good.
Okay.
You know, so that's kind of how we judge. If you have headaches in the house or you see things, you know, that you feel shouldn't be there, spots or things of that nature, then you know, you might have an issue. You know?
Do you ever come in and just do overall assessments on people's homes just to sort of give us an overall idea? Again, I'm sure it's different if my house was built in 2017 or like mine, 1958.
Right. To a point. I mean, we definitely go in and it's usually because somebody had a problem of some sort. And then what we're training all the guys to do, though, is not to have tunnel vision. You know, go in there and look at the entire house as a scope and
broad
see
spectrum.
what even if it falls out of the stuff that we're, you know, maybe currently not doing now, but to get another expert in there if we have to point in other directions, because it's not always, people have an assumption that it's going a certain direction and it very well might not be that way.
Can you put together a master plan of attack when you find that it's the duct work? Does that, again, do you put together a master plan where we get the duct work clean and then we can do this and then we can do this and then there's prevention?
There is. Normally when we go into a house that's got indoor air quality problems, we start with what we think is the end-all cure-all.
Got it.
And it's usually a pretty big package deal.
Sure.
But when it comes into air quality and things that you can't always see, we want to make sure we address it 110%.
That's right.
That way nobody comes back and say, well, you promised me this or that. And if it becomes a budget issue, then we start, taking
Sure.
some things away and going back with value ideas, but letting them know that we might not get the full scope, but it's going to be better than
That's
nothing.
right. But that makes sense. They know what they're paying for. They know what they're getting.
Right.
One of the things that you said that you've also been getting into more is water and fire.
Restoration. So
What does that mean?
it's a simple, you have a water heater that breaks, your roof came off, during the hurricane, and your house got
Flooded.
We'll come in there and pull out all the junk and dry it out.
Okay.
And then in some cases, depending on the size, we'll go back and actually rebuild. If it's a giant job, then we'll probably stop at the we call it remediation.
Okay.
And then the restoration, I guess, might be the people building it.
Exactly. I love it when people give us notes to tell us what we have to talk about it. And from a service point of view, before hurricane, after hurricane, can you come in and do assessments for that too?
Sure. I mean, if you feel like something had happened with the house, you normally have to see water, or some sort of intrusion to have an issue. Most of the time, unless it really came through and we did for, say, Matthew.
Yeah.
Like the last hurricane that kind of just brushed us, it was small enough that unless you literally see water coming from a direction, you're probably okay. But if you see something, wet spots, moisture, mildew, picking up in a spot, then absolutely bring us
But
in.
what's interesting about that to me is Irma killed us. It didn't hurt a lot of people. Matthew was way worse. But it was more the subliminal thing. It wasn't so overt. It wasn't
Right.
like I knew to get my HVAC checked or this or that or the other.
Right.
But I do think that's something that I normally wouldn't have thought about, to go ahead and just sort of do a preemptive strike, if you will.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have us come out and look at the system as a whole, look at the house, look around. But once again, everything kind of falls on different professionals when it gets to the broad scope. But we know enough to help you point in the right direction. If it might be termites, we'll get a termite guy involved or whatever it might be.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question is, you are basically and rapidly becoming sort of a one-stop shop of professionals and expertise. And it seems to me what you're saying is, and if you don't have that professional in place, you're a good resource
Right.
for us to call on.
Absolutely.
For you.
We got people that we deal with every day that we feel are as professional and that we can pass them on to the customer. Eventually, we would like to be a jack of all trades. I mean, there's the misnomer, the jack of all trades, the master of none.
Oh, I disagree.
However, the way we're set up is that we, as a company, may be a jack of all trades, but our divisions are so departmentalized that
Right.
each one is becoming, if they're not already there, a master of that division, whatever.
Okay, so Dave, we're crazy busy, both of us. So would I not much rather be able to call you, okay, my kind of go-to guy,
Sure.
and have you be able to lead me to divisions within your own entity, which is Superior Services?
Right.
Because I know that if my experience with the heating and air has been as good as it's been,
Right.
my assumption is.
And that's our idea. That's what we're trying to do. So
It's absolutely brilliant.
it's going to take some time to get some traction, but so far, so good.
I was going to say, how do you do that? Do you have just different people who are experts in
We'll
their
bring
fields?
somebody in that has some sort of experience and either get them certified if they're not already certified, and then get them the right training if they're not already trained. And we put them at the head of that department, and then they run that department with guys under them, and they're almost handled like small little businesses within the business, but all handled through the same dispatching and things of that nature.
Oh my God, that just makes so much sense to me intuitively, and from a cost point of view, and from a time point of view.
Yeah, you don't have to have several subs in your house if it's, once we get to a point where we're offering even more services.
Well, I love today because today was basically kind of an education day for, I think, our viewers and for me too, about
Sure.
what you're doing now. I think some of the most fun things we've done on Lines on Design is actually go in the field and see firsthand
Right.
what you're doing. And I look forward to doing that more and more and more.
Perfect.
So
I
again,
look forward
thank
to
you
it.
so much. Thank you for
having me.
joining us here on Lines on Design.
Thank
Have
you.
a great week. Bye-bye.